So it's obviously very worrying that several hundred cases of respiratory illness have been reported in the USA, potentially linked to vaping, and several deaths. The investigation is ongoing, but my understanding from my colleagues is that almost all, if not all, of these cases are not from people vaping devices bought in retail outlets with nicotine in them, but actually from vaping cannabis oil. The investigation that is being carried out by the Center for Disease Control and the Food and Drug Administration has provided some information that suggests, at least in some states, more than 80% of the people who have become ill have admitted that they are using cannabis oil. In many cases, these products have been bought on the illegal market. They are not regulated. And there is some evidence now that, in particular, vitamin E acetate, which is a thickening agent, may have been used in these cannabis oils and may in fact be the chemical composition that is causing the cases. But we need more investigation to be confident. The Center for Disease Control is being quite equivocal and saying that actually they're not persuaded that it necessarily is being caused by THC oils, and that actually the best route is for people to stop vaping. My view is that's not good advice. There are over 10 million e-cigarette users, vapors, in the United States of America, and most of these are smokers and ex-smokers who are using these products to move away from tobacco. And if people stop vaping, many of them will return to smoking. And of course, there are over 100,000 deaths in the US, or over 400,000 deaths in the US each year from smoking. So it's very important that people don't return to tobacco use. In terms of vaping overall, these devices have been available now in many countries for around a decade. We have a lot of research that suggests that they are significantly less harmful than smoking, particularly when they are regulated, as they are across Europe through the European Tobacco Products Directive. So our advice in the United Kingdom is that smokers who find it difficult to quit smoking should switch to vaping as a less harmful alternative. Now, that doesn't mean that e-cigarettes are safe. There are lots of products that are not safe. These are products for people who are trying to quit smoking. They're not products for people who have never smoked, or for young people, for example. And it's very important that young people who've never smoked do not use these devices and are protected, and there is regulation in place to make sure that they don't use them. My advice to e-cigarette users, vapors in Turkey, or indeed in any country, in relation to these recent deaths and respiratory disease reports in the United States, is to make sure that the e-cigarette cartridges and products they're using are from reputable retailers, in Europe in particular, that they comply with European legislation. They have a nicotine warning, child safe packaging, and that they haven't been tampered with. People should not be buying vaping liquids and vaping devices on the illegal market. We may see cases like this in Europe, particularly linked to cannabis oil. I hope that we don't, but we cannot rule that out. So for vapors, please don't return to smoking, but ensure that you're using products from reputable retailers. I don't think flavors are to blame. We've had nicotine e-liquids with many flavors, as I say, for almost 10 years, and banning flavored e-cigarettes is not going to prevent these types of death or this type of disease, because, as I say, the cases look like they're linked to illegal contaminated liquids that people have been using. In the United Kingdom, we have an official policy, which is that e-cigarette use can be supported here. And we are not banning these devices. We have no intention to ban these devices, but we believe that appropriate regulation is important. So the advice in brief again to people who are vaping is please do not return to smoking, but make sure that you know what you're using, that you use reputable products from recognized retailers. And I think for now also, given the suggestion that it may be linked to cannabis oil, it's probably best if people avoid vaping that as well until we really get to the bottom of these cases.
However, a lot of pregnant women don't like NRT, they don't want to use it, and they don't find it helpful. So that's the backdrop. So what do we do in that, on that basis? So this is where we are in the UK. I think most of you have seen this, our public health consensus statement, making clear that all the evidence suggests that e-cigarettes are significantly less harmful than smoking, and current smokers should not be discouraged from using them. So our approach to e-cigarette in pregnancy is built on this consensus. Still controversial, but it's built on this. It's also built on our investment in substantial new research and our development of practical guidance for women and health professionals. Because the bottom line is, and I know I often say this, there are babies dying now from smoking in pregnancy.